Now convene our regularly scheduled meeting. Our first item of business, we'll need to get a motion to come out of our work session in a second. I have a motion. Motion by Greg, I have a second. Second by Claudette. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor of ending our work session signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. First item of business is our pledge of allegiance, and that'll be led today by Ms. Brandy Carver.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point in time, Mr. Henderson's going to provide us with a reflection.
Well, thought about it for a few days. I prepared an email and obviously what I would say, and probably as many of you in here have, it's probably going to be centered around the impact that athletics has had on my life in general. Grew up in a very rural community in Western Kentucky. Just sitting here thinking about a while ago that I know Russell talked about when we got to come to the Rupp Arena for the first time. When I got to come to the Rupp Arena the first time, I was quite a bit older than you. It's a little bit longer drive, but I just remember the days of sitting at home with my granddad, he was still living. We would listen to Caleb Lefford on the radio, and I knew him talk about the Twin Towers. If we were lucky, we could go turn the antenna and get national TV. Kentucky was on national TV on Saturday. Those are my days of seeing the Rupp Arena, and so as life goes on in that small little community for me, and sports obviously become a big part of my life. And oftentimes I wonder where I would be without sports. My mother didn't attend college. My dad didn't. I was the first generation person in my family to graduate from college, and that was solely because of that days, because I got that opportunity to be on high school. But there's a lot of things I owe to a lot of people. I owe a lot to over the years that I fully respect, and coaches I've had, and after my playing days, and the players that now I still communicate with, and other coaches that I've had the opportunity to coach along with, and just to gain that collaboration with those folks. It's been things that I'll never forget. Sports, I heard Commissioner Tackett say earlier, differentiate between extracurricular and co-curricular. I think sometimes I would argue that the things that this board controls as far as athletics, those sports are co-curricular. Because I can tell you right now that I learned on the field, and I learned on the board, or whatever it might have been, many life lessons that have helped me throughout my life that I wouldn't have gotten in the classroom. So to me, it's really a co-curricular. We classify it as extracurricular, but so I'd be remiss to leave somebody out if I went on and tried to thank many people that were so influential, getting where I am today. Sports is the reason that I have my wife of many years and two beautiful children. If it hadn't been for sports, we would have never met. So I've got a lot to be thankful for. Thank the good Lord for that. And these things seem to fall into place sometimes, and it seems like sports have always been background. And lastly, I just say that how honored I am to be a part of a board. That gives these young kids that live in the rural communities an opportunity to come play and be a part of the big stage like Rupp Arena, and how rewarding that is for those players. And I'm very thankful to have an opportunity to do my part. For that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Proceeding on with our board meeting, the first item of business is to accept reports, operational reports for information for the board approval. Item 7.1 through 7.12 7.1.12. All of those reports are included in this one motion. I need a motion at this point in time to accept those reports. Motion from Damon. Have a second. Second from Joe. Is there any discussion on those reports? Seeing none, all those in favor of accepting that report, please raise your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimously. The next item of business, item 7.2, 7.2.1.1, the spring sports season timing discussion, limitation of seasons, and addition of lacrosse and boys volleyball for 24-25. Commissioner?
I think the recommendation is just that you accept that and we accept the report and direct staff to bring a calendar for those to the January 24 meeting.
You've heard the recommendation to accept that report. Item 7.2.1.1. I have a motion. Motion from Dave. Have a second. Second from Marty. Is there any discussion regarding that? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimously. The next item of business, 7.2.1.2, discuss bylaw 23, the limitation of season sport activities and sports. You see the recommendation, and that's to accept that report. I do need a motion on that. Do I have a motion to accept that report? Motion by Russ. I have a second. Second by Gavin. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. That motion carries as well. The next item of business, 7.2.1.3, is a discussion of competition rules, circle scoring option in golf. The recommendation, as we discussed in our work session, was to report and direct the staff in consultation with the Golf House and KPGA to recommend a maximum per hole score to be instrumental and move that forward for our January meeting or our May Board of Control meeting, depending on how quick we can get it back. Is there any discussion on that motion? Can I get a motion to accept that? Motion from Brian. Do I have a second? Second by Dave. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimously. The next item of business, 7.2.1.4, is the discussion of soccer mercy rule threshold. You can see the recommendation. Do I have a motion to accept that report and that recommendation? Motion by Greg. Do I have a second? Second by Randy. Brandy, I'm sorry. My apologies, Brandy. I said Brandy. I said Brandy's on the other end. I have a motion and second. Is there any discussion?
No, I had something.
Yes.
I have to talk to Chad a little bit too. I don't know if this falls in for competition rules, but just looking at all these DQs for soccer, 218 DQs, I think maybe this board might want to look at maybe doing something penalty wise to stop that. You know, we talk about the coaches got 3, you know, that kind of cleaned that up, didn't it? And we started kicking coaches out for 3 games, that cleaned it up. I just think this board needs to do something to maybe address that. I never had conversations with him. I don't know if we can wrap this into that, or is that a later date?
Well, what I would, with the approval of both the president and the commissioner, I can report that I've been working with the NFHS on restructuring Rule 12, which determines who is DQ'd and who is not. And what we've done is we have structured that rule in a way that it kind of tiers the reasons why you would be thrown out or disqualified from a game. Starts with something, you know, like the 2 yellow cards, and then moves to the automatic handball in the box where you know, dog or denying an obvious goal scoring. And it kind of tiers it to the end where we get to like fight. And so what I think that'll do if the rules committee accepts the changes that we have proposed and they are adopted, I think later on this year and before the playing season, we would be able to present that to you guys, and we might be able to take a good close look at, you know, what we want to do with that. And I think some of those options would be on the table, but I think I think right now it's, we don't need to add anything to this motion, but I think what Mr. Wilhoit brings in is a good opportunity in the future that we take a look at that. And I think there's some things that will be coming our way to help us with that in the rules. Commissioner?
Nothing additional. I mean, I think that once we get the rule changes, we'll have a little bit better idea. Because I think there will be additional action that you'll want to take, even based on that tiering. If they're talking about the action, and this has been a 20-year discussion in soccer, right? So it's not just us, it's almost every.
I remember the first week that I was here, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Almost 15 years ago, and it's been really, really hard to get everybody to line up and do this, but we pushed through this year and we've gotten something, and my hope is that it'll be a step in the right direction to kind of bring some balance. So I'm interested in a further conversation for sure.
That's gonna be, that's not written in the way here, but it would be 8 goals at halftime or afterwards.
Because you cleaned it earlier, that's natural. And remember, this is first reading. We give final approval of final wording.
But the 8 goal differential would not kick in until at the
Correct.
earliest halftime.
At the half. We need to comply with the regular.
Which is, yeah, so basically we would take the current rule, instead of saying 10, it would say 8.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimously. The next item of business, 7.2.1.5, to discuss the running clock threshold for football. As you see, the recommendation, it's simply to lower it from the threshold to 35 points and consider final approval at our January 24 meeting. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, I'll take a motion to accept that. Motion by Mandy, to have a second. Second by Joe. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimously. The next item of business, 7.2.1.6, discuss football playoff forfeiture penalties and sanctions. You can see the recommendation as it will go forward and be adopted, I guess, assuming our January meeting when we do our realignment and that. Do I have a motion to accept that? Motion by Randy, to have a second. Second by Mike. Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. That motion carries. Next item of business, 7.2.1.7, to discuss football classic classification and implementation plan for 2025. The recommendation is to accept the report and direct the staff to execute the next steps for the January meeting. That will take approximately 7 days. No, I'm joking. To accept that at our January meeting. Do I have a motion? Have a motion from Jim. Have a second? No, I have a second from Mr. Colarn. Wait, I'm sorry. Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Don't forget your care packages. Item 7.3.1.1. Next item of business is in finance and business, and that's to approve the budget amendment to utilize the budget repair designated funds to repair the museum carpet. You see the recommendation. Do I have a motion to accept that? Motion from Gavin. I have a second. Motion from Russ, second from Russ. Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Next item of business, the Network Holding Company Extension Agreement, extension 7.3.1.2. The recommendation is to approve that extension to the NFH Network Rights Agreement. Do I have a motion to accept that? Motion by Greg, seconded by Marty. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. The next item of business, 7.3.1.3, which is the approval to diversify bank holdings. You see the recommendation that authorizes the commissioner and consultant with our audit firm and the executive finance committee to do that. I need a motion to accept that. Motion from Joe, have a second. Second from Brandy. Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. That motion carries as well. Next item of business, 7.3.2.1. That's to discuss bylaw 23, which is the limitations of seasons for track and field. The recommendation is to accept that report. Do I have a motion? Motion from Greg, have a second. Second from Claudette. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimous. Item 7.3.2.2, the entry and discussion and recommendations for year one of state indoor track and field meet. We all discussed that in our work session. You see the recommendation. You have a motion to accept that recommendation. Motion from Claudette. Do I have a second? Second from Russ. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. The next item of business has to do with swimming and diving. Item 7.3.3.5. That is, that particular recommendation is to approve the first state round sites. I'm sorry, 7.3.3.1.1. I'm sorry, is to approve those sites, the first round sites. The recommendation is to approve those sites. Do I have a motion? Have a motion from Matt. Do I have a second? Second from Jim. Motion's been made and seconded to approve those sites, those first round state sites of Russell County, University of Louisville, and Scott High School. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimously. Carrie, you tricked me. Item 7.3.3.2. Consider the capacity of I think that's supposed to say diving competition. Consider capacity for diving competition rule changes. The recommendation is to accept the committee rules to adopt option 2 for 2024 with continued evaluation of those options for future years after the completion of 2024. Is there a motion? Motion from Marty, second from Michael. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. I didn't offer any opportunity for discussion in that. Is there any discussion on that? Approved motion. Seeing none, item 7.3.3.3. Approve the final 23-24 state meet advancement and competition parameters. The recommendations is the format that was presented to us in our work session. Do I have a motion to accept that? Motion made by Randy to accept that. Do I have a second? Seconded by Matt. Is there any discussion on that recommendation? That one had a little bit of a concern on it about the way it was, with no discussion on that at all. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. That motion carries as well. Item 7.3.4, the first item is to consider the alternative action of female weight classes, which is 7.3.4.1. You see the recommendation that says we use the prescribed 12 NFHS female wrestling plus the 285 class per NFHS experiment. I have a motion to accept that. Motion by Russell. To have a second. Second by Michael. Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. None showing. That motion passes unanimously. Item 7.3.4.2 to approve the region composition and finish by dates. The recommendation is to accept that report. Do I have a motion to accept that? Motion by Claudette, second by Larry. Is there any discussion?
Let me interject something that I neglected to say earlier, just so you know, to be prepared for. I think Joe and I have talked about this. We're gonna try to put a little pressure on the managers that are selected. You've got a collision of problems right now because the girls wrestling tournament we set for the first year to be on Saturday. And some of the coaches are wanting the qualifying rounds to be on the Saturday preceding the boys. Which if you're a wrestling school, you know, means that they're gonna try to hold weight for almost 2 weeks. That's probably not gonna be best for the young ladies, so we're gonna be really pressure pointing that as we look at developing that. And we don't really need to have it final before you meet again, so I didn't want that to be lost as a emphasis point. Joe, anything to add there?
Any more discussion on that particular item of business? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimously. The next item of business is archery, item 7.3.5. The first was 7.3.5.1 is that's to consider and approve the state event site. The recommendation is to authorize the commissioner to enter into an agreement with the Central Bank Center for the 2024 and 2025 state archery championships. Have a motion? A motion by Mandy, and a motion and a second by Matt, I'm sorry. Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Chad is a tough taskmaster if you don't follow all this stuff, so that's why I try to make sure if I get. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimously. Item 7.3.6.1. The results of our referendum of bylaw 9. The recommendation of bylaw 9 is to accept that report and direct that implementation through the regulatory next steps to adopt the changes effective with the 2024 school year that was passed in our recent annual meeting. I have a motion by Russell Thompson from Pineville, a second by Mr. McCowan. Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. That motion carries unanimously as well. There's a long story behind raising your right hand, and when I first got on the board, I didn't realize it, but it dates back to the late Stan Stidell, who was very adamant about making sure he was recognized as not voting for or against something. So that dates back long before me and long before several of us in the room, but that's the reason for doing that. He wanted to make sure he took very great pride in voting for or against something. So please appreciate you bearing with us on that particular side of it. I guess the next item of business, if there's nothing, Commissioner, anyone from the staff, anything?
No, I think you wanted to remind them about the esports thing. That we
Yeah, I think most
glossed over it.
I know most, I should have mentioned earlier in the non-championship part of it, but I think most of y'all saw, we got a kind of a exciting but surprising announcement from Play Versus where it's 100% free now. So I think being a Title IX interest survey year, we're going to see those numbers just go through the roof. We already know that several of the teams set out the fall because they just want to do the one season. So I think the spring numbers are going to be huge. And there's opportunity that we can add probably two more games to that. So we'll definitely have to look at that when it comes up in April. It's about as far as number of days and so forth. So their CEO, he comes from an education-based company that their motto was to do everything free and just try to get it out there and develop partnerships and so forth and sponsorships to get it going. And that's what he's brought to Play Versus. He's been there for a few months now. So it's an exciting time for esports. So. That was one of the
schools that have paid already. I'm assuming they're gonna return their money.
Yeah, there's some links in there. Yeah, they'll get refunds.
They pay for the second semester.
Yeah, you can pay for the entire year, or you can pay. I know some they couldn't have paid for the second semester yet, I guess, because we just opened enrollment yesterday. But and I'll be sending something out about that today, later on today. Yeah, that enrollment is open. So that was one of the barriers for a lot of schools. The $80 per.
Concern, and I know David had to leave, but that was a concern of theirs as well.
Yeah, $80 per athlete per game per season.
Though a lot of our schools pay a significant amount for competing tournaments and stuff, that was a different one for us.
I guess if you put it in terms of entry fees and different things for different sports, maybe
any of you all have anything before I mention something basketball? The only thing that staff wants to remind, especially those of you that are new, we will open up ticket sales for basketball in the next couple of weeks. And I'll get with each one of you about your needs. We continue to advise as long as possible to avoid getting in the ticket business because you can never get out. But that's strictly your call. And the arena configuration was not adjusted for this year because they had some trouble getting the risers in. That was going to replace the section you all been sitting in. It was going to be a totally different thing and they couldn't get the equipment in. So this year will be in the typical configuration, but I'll be calling each one of you individually about your order because everybody's needs are different. And I'll let you know.
I neglected one other thing. The last state championship of the year is actually Esports Championship. That's Tuesday, December 12th, and that's at UK Cornerstone Esports Lounge. I know Mr. Couch, I wish he was here, but hopefully he can come again. He can help hand out trophies. It's a really good opportunity to see the kids' faces when they walk in that place. It's amazing. And it's a special, really special event. I hope y'all can make it.
Anything else from staff or Commissioner?
Obviously, no football tickets, so make sure you look for those. They will come, they come from the Go Family, right, that all been back to.
Through HQ.
It's through, but so we'll be sending them directly to you all.
You need additional, just let us know, but you're two that you get. Then I can.
There's another,
What? So two, yeah, you'll get
Yes.
the two, when you need the additional, then maybe not happen.
the next thing that's always been, it's been around for as long as I have. It's an item that I was told earlier that we hadn't quite took a vote on it not to do it, but for good of the order, it's been something that's been going on, I guess, for as long as I've been here. And I guess I've been here almost as long as Scott has. So I was told today that Scott was older than I was. So I was kind of glad to feel that
Hold
way.
that over his head.
I will hold
He
over
gets
his
a little
head.
cocky.
Although I am older than Scott, I will go ahead. But Carol, would you like to start us on for the good of the order?
Thank you guys for all you do and have a happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, all the holidays. Great. holidays.
Easter.
Glad to be back with friends, Joe. Good reflection. I think it touched the heart to all of us that we all have some type of connection, what sports have meant to us in our lives, and great reflection. Hope everybody has a safe trip going on.
Good to see everybody. Joe, great job with the reflection. Safe travel.
Thanks, Joe, for your reflection, and thanks to the association. You guys run first class state championships. It's all here. We got football coming up in sports, but just kudos to you guys for just running that first class operation as far as the state championships. Just upholding the integrity of the membership with all the behind the scenes stuff. You guys, all the behind the scenes stuff you guys do is just second to none. And really appreciate it.
Joe, thanks for the speech there. It's nice. Staff members, I think we always look at things as seasonal, like, right, it's winter, and fall, and spring. You all are one season, so God bless you all for what you do. I know it's a year-long endeavor. Thank you for lining up the lunch that gentleman cooked the lunch that was in. I appreciate that, but and everybody, safe travels, happy holidays. Keep fighting that good fight. Keep across the state.
I don't know really that I have anything necessarily. I guess maybe an apology, I suppose, on my part that I haven't been able to attend the state championships in the fall. It's my son is still playing, so with him and some family things that are going on, I haven't been able to attend. But after the holidays, I intend to change that. So I'm excited about seeing that. But obviously, we've been involved for a number of years, and I know the quality of events that are hosted by the group. So I appreciate the work that you guys continue to put in.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. And one thing I wanted to share about Joe is 20 miles down the road from me, but what a job he's done getting through this tornado. Some of the issues they dealt with, and really, to be honest, football season this year, the fall sports season and everything, it kind of seemed to make things right again. And they're building back up, the school system has had make a lot of concessions and work hard to make things right there.
I know the same thing's going on over in Eastern Kentucky as well, but some of those things sometimes will overlook that. It's a struggle to get there, but fortunately sports and what they bring to our communities kind of make things regular a lot of times and might get us away from some of the stuff we deal with today. And just kudos to him for not only being a good neighbor, known Joe a long time, but also his leadership during this whole issue they had, because it was devastating. Anybody that didn't go in, I think it was Dawson Springs, it was really tough. I knew it was protecting what it too, but nevertheless, and we all struggle with different things, but again, I bring up the fact that sports certainly takes us away from those sometimes and gives us something to enjoy, kids to root for, and coaches to root for, and a united front to enjoy.
Always good to see everybody. I want to welcome Mr. Bottoms to the KHSAA staff. I've known him a long time. He is incredibly professional and dedicated to the officiating business. I think that's an excellent hire. And also because of my relationship with him, this is probably the first and only time I'll ever say anything nice about him. And Butch, he's a huge Cardinals fan too. I don't know if you knew that.
There's two.
Great reflection, Joe. Reflection is always one of my favorite parts of our meetings when we meet. As always, thank you to the staff for all that you do every day. And great to see everyone. Be safe traveling home. Merry Christmas. Or I'm sorry, Happy Thanksgiving first.
I think most things have kind of been said, so I won't reiterate all of that. I will say thanks to whoever brings the donuts. I appreciate the donuts that we have, a little mid-morning snack. I always appreciate that. I do have a sweet tooth. So thank you for that.
Thank you all for your support. At this time of year, I guess we always kind of reflect on what we're thankful for, and I'm thankful to be alive because at section 2, I wasn't sure we were making it home alive, due to one of our staff members about killing all of us in an elevator incident.
And Maryland's.
And Maryland's office. We'd have left, maybe Jenny left in the office, and that's only because she got sick. So
It could have been both the plaintiff and defense attorney.
Decides to jump on a really
about
cool
took
level.
us all out, so I'm thankful to be here.
You're laughing about it now, but you weren't then.
It was tears, definitely tears. I was terrified.
So we went from an escalator to an elevator.
No suits pending?
We haven't exhausted the statute.
He would have represented both sides. Slain in vain.
Good to see everybody. Thank you all for your support as always, and safe travels. Turning on.
So I want to thank those of you that made it out to the golf and field hockey championships. Good luck the rest of the semester and have a happy holiday.
I apparently need to publicly apologize to my sister-in-law for any ill will,
I will never ride an elevator with you again. If you're on, I'll wait.
but I gotta be honest with you, it was pretty funny.
To drop 4 feet.
Just want to thank you guys for everything that you guys do. I don't think that many people understand the process and the dedication that you guys put into these meetings and what you do throughout the year. I know that each one of you have your eyes opened when you first come on. And it's something that each one of you take a lot of pride in being a part of. It's certainly something that we all as a staff take pride in being a part of as well. I just want to say thank you as we kind of enter the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, and just please take time to remember those that you love, spend some time with your family.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you to the entire board for all that you do. Have a great holiday season and safe travels.
Yeah, same thing. Just thank you all for everything you do, and we'll see you, I guess, throughout the winter here and late fall, early winter for some championships, and have a great holiday.
Thank you, Joe, for your reflection. Thank you guys for always being here and looking out for the students and student athletes and wanting the best for them. It's always a pleasure to sit in here and get to hear all of that as a former athlete myself, and get to be a part of this. So thank you guys for that. And I wish you guys the best and happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy family. I know A lot of times in the industries that we are, you don't always get time with your family, and so please enjoy time with your family.
There's a lot I could say. No, I appreciate the opportunity to be in this position. I told my wife, I refereed basketball for 30 years. For the signing secretary for 8. And I thought I knew what this staff and this office did. And I had no clue. You know that much better than I. But, you know, when you come the first week and there's, let's see, field hockey, girls and boys, soccer, and cross-country state championships all in my first week. It was a whirlwind. And I didn't realize what all they did. You do. They're very professional. They've been very helpful. So I look forward to working with them. One thing I would say to you, if you in your areas have some official association that would like for me to reach out to them or speak to them or stop by and say hello, I'm more than willing to do that. So if I can do anything for you in your areas, reach out to me. Thank you.
I was laughing because I've worked with Scott over the years too. And I leaned over to him a minute ago because I know how he is. I know how he works. He's a worker. And I said, part-time job, huh? Because I just know how he is, a part-time position according to what we've read. But I know he's going to put all the effort needed into it. So welcome and glad to have him here. As you know, I try to speak for the AD sometimes. In November is when your athletic director's probably getting finally a chance to take breath and reset a little bit for the upcoming winter season. And then sort of piggyback on Joe, we had a signing ceremony last week, and I don't know how many of you all have thought about it, but the class of 2024 was COVID freshman year. And I remember as I spoke to the group, I looked at all the parents and all the teammates and everybody was there, and I said, there was a part of the year where the only person these kids had ever met was their coach, because we were in virtual school, and how impactful sports had been their freshman year and how big the impact it was, because we were having trouble with kids and their teachers, and they had never met these teachers before, but the only people that were connecting them to our school at that point and holding them in was the coaches and the sports. So I was just piggybacking on Joe's impact of sports.
Yeah, appreciate the reflection. This is reflection of my sports, really gets how I'm being from a rural area myself. Again, just appreciate the opportunity to be here and work with you all. Looking forward to the football state championships. And just how those teams progress along, and hopefully won't have any damage at this year's football state championship.
Thank you to the staff for a great fall season. We were having a conversation before this meeting about we're all really busy and it's really hard to get away sometimes, but it is really refreshing and nice to be in a room with like-minded individuals who really just want to do what's best for kids across the state. So I'm just happy to be a part of this group.
Thanks to the staff. Happy holidays. It's like that.
Just mirror what Brandy said, piggyback on it to say, going to the state tournaments in the fall. Thanks to all the staff that put those together and put in hours upon hours for those events. So thanks to you.
Thank Joe for the reflection. I thought it was a great job. I really appreciated those words, and I thank the staff and happy holidays.
I didn't see no notes or anything. I know Joseph, you shot in the hip.
Like Hershey, you got
It is a long drive from Mayfield up here. So. Plenty of time. I appreciate everybody being here, and look forward to next time again.
You know, being probably the most senior board member here on the board at this point in time, the one thing I've come to learn, I don't know whether it's the board members that come on or it's the staff that's already here, but it never fails. Everybody seems to just get better every time they're around each other. And I think that's pretty amazing to watch success breed success. And it's nice to know that folks, we never miss these meetings. Everybody's here when they're supposed to be. They put in a lot of extra time that's not really thought of. And Scott, you've kind of got a good idea of that. It's pretty amazing to watch the way this operation continues to progress every single day. Something new comes about, something great comes about. Somebody shares something with somebody else. And it's all done for 280 plus member schools and 84,000 young men and women across the state. And it's pretty admirable. And it's just been nice to be a part of this thing for 8 years. My time's winding down, but you know, I don't know how I'm the oldest board member and still the youngest guy or gal on here. I just started when I was really young.
No, the only thing I close with is, you know, you've got the information this week on the championships. Would like to ask the screening committee to hang around for just a few minutes while we just go over the process with you for Hall of Fame, then we'll just. But the other thing is I'll get with Mr. Billings and Mr. Cold Iron. There's a board policy that allows you all to say thank you to the people across here, and I think we want to exercise that. We certainly are in good position to do that. But I'll also say that Sam Sparks, one time, we were at Russell High School for a regional meeting. And Sam, kind of like Dave's thoughts, was described the fall sports as 12-week death march. And we're very guarded, and why we've been a little slow on some of the spring implementation is we don't want to just repeat the fall and the spring. We want to be sure we've thought things through. So we hope you get that. I think you do. But it's been a 12-week death march for these folks too. I mean, y'all compensate me handsomely to go around different and have a long schedule, but y'all just really don't know how hard they put it together to try to make it what you all are talking about now. And I appreciate it that much. I know you did too. So it's been a good fall. So we'll try not to screw it up between now and football.
For those of you that are on the screening committee, we'd ask that you stay and go through this. And even if you're not on the screening committee, if you just wanted to experience the process and see what it is, we welcome you to stay as well. But if there's no further discussion, no further items of business, I now declare this meeting adjourned.